Do me for hold this L.
Hold this L.
Hold this L.
Welcome to another episode of Hold This L with your host, Lonnie and Cappel. What's going on with you today, bro?
Good, man. I'm excited. This Friday is actually the first, not the official day, but we got first day. We got some actual NBA action, preseason. I mean, I ain't watching none of it, but it's here. So
you surprised me with that. I didn't know that. I didn't realize.
I just happened to notice on DraftKings, and I accidentally hit the NBA button, and it had the games, and I thought it was gonna be, like the 22nd, and it was actually Friday for preseason. So I'm like, okay, cool. They already getting it going. But that's just a sign of things to come. We a couple weeks out, and we have our basketball in. But I'm excited, man. I'm excited for another day of talking about football and talking about how we gonna make some money.
Definitely.
What about you?
Oh man, not too much at all. Just same old things, different day. Like I say, I'm excited a little bit more about something also, but a little different. Fantasy playoff time. It's time to get into these playoffs. It's make or break. I made the playoffs in 2 out of 3 leagues, so I'm excited. I'm ready to get it popping.
Yeah, it is that time. Playoffs is always an exciting time in the regular season. Now everything is for all the marbles. Win or go home. So yeah, I'm with you. I made 1 playoff out of 2, so I'm ready to go myself. We'll see what happens. But before we get into this daily, I've been playing some college basketball lately, man. It's just daily, and I've been feeling it. I've been doing pretty good, man. I've been doing pretty good. It's an acquired taste because it ain't like NBA. Well, it is like NBA to a certain extent. It's not the same as far as like the positions and all that. But as far as the evaluating process and plays and stuff like that, that's part the same. It's just so many teams, but once you get the research and stuff like that, you feel comfortable. I've been doing pretty good, man. I'm kind of liking it.
Well, let me ask you this. I mean, I kind of already know, but for the fans, what do you mean pretty good? Because I think you've been doing really good.
I'll tell you places. But I won't share dollars. So I brought down a 300 player GPP yesterday, first place, and in a $5 GPP $10,000 take home first place, I placed 6th. So if you want to go and do the research on what you think the take home what that is, go ahead. But
we know you took home a lot. That's all that matters.
6th place out of like maybe 9,000, 8,000 people, something like that. It's pretty good, man. And I'm just starting to play college, so I'm really liking it.
Look at him, y'all being all modest.
Oh, it is until you win some serious money. It don't mean nothing. It don't mean nothing. Let me get one of them 50,000 pots, 100,000 or more. You'll see real smiles and real real excitement as I come on here and talk about it. But until the end, it's like I'm just trying to grow my bank account, make my bank account get bigger in DraftKings so I can keep growing it. That's about it.
Yeah, somebody may argue the difference in what you think real money is and what they think real money is.
Oh, it's not an argument. Whatever they think real money is, that's what it is for them. This is not their money. This is my money, so it ain't no argument. But anyways, I'm trying to get the same thing. I'm trying to get the same thing going with this daily football, NFL football. Because I've been doing okay, but not close to what I would like to be doing. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into these games, man.
Let's get it going. We need to redeem ourselves, man. It's been a rough couple of weeks.
So this is a huge slate. Bye weeks are officially over, and we don't have any games postponed and pushed back like we had the last couple of weeks. So this is a 13-game slate. We hadn't had this many options in a long time, I think since week 1 or 2 or something like that before we started having buys. So let's start off with Tennessee and Jacksonville. This is a great matchup. I like this matchup. Who you like in this matchup, man?
Oh, man. I like a whole bunch of everybody, but I'm gonna tell you my top guys. I got three top guys that I'm gonna give on both teams. Love James Robinson. Love James Robinson for Jaguars. No, I'm gonna give you four actually. I love DJ Chark also for the Jaguars. The flip side, Tennessee. I love Derrick Henry, and I also love Corey Davis.
Yeah. So I like those players. I don't like DJ Chark because I just don't like I don't the passing game is too unpredictable. And Mike Glennon has been playing well. I like him as a value play. Dirt cheap. The last two games, he has thrown the ball pretty well. He threw for 280 last game, had one touchdown. You throw two more touchdowns in there, and now he's at the top of the fantasy board. He's playing against another weak defense, so I like Mike Glennon. But what I don't like about the pass catchers is that he spreads the ball around. If I'm gonna go with anybody, it's gonna be one of the cheaper options. Tyler Eifert at tight end has been getting some targets, about 4 or 6 targets the last 3 games, and the last 2 games with Mike Glennon it was 5 and 6, and for his price, he's still cheap, like $3,000, I think. About 10 points is pretty good. I like Colin Johnson. He's been getting targets, and he's still cheap. He's a rookie. He had a killer game the first game Mike Glennon played, and he had a good game last time. Mike Glennon and DJ Chark don't really have a lot of chemistry, so I don't know how much I like DJ Chark. A lot of times his backup quarterbacks have chemistry with the second and third string receivers because that's who they practice with on a practice squad. So it makes sense that him and Colin Johnson have a connection. And I may take a flyer on him, but DJ Chark costs too much. He's in a price range with players like Brandon Ayuk and Antonio Brown, and I just rather those players than DJ Chark. On the other side, Tennessee, I told y'all, Corey Davis, I told you, hope you played him, because if you did, you probably made some money. I guarantee you the number one lineup had a minute, and so I definitely had some of them. It helped me cash. I didn't do as great as I wanted to with some of my other picks, but I was right on the money with that one. And I like him again this week. He's still at a decent price. He's 6,700 on DraftKings. But I also like A.J. Brown. I also like Derrick Henry. This game, I like a Tennessee stack. Tannehill as well. Jacksonville is not slowing anybody down. I probably would fade Henry, though, simply because Henry, there's so many good running back options that we're going to get to later. And I saw how they played Dalvin Cook. And while Dalvin Cook still had a good fantasy day, for the price you pay for him, it took real work and overtime for Dalvin Cook to get to where he was. Like, he got an extra 4 to 6 points during overtime. Mm-hmm. And so I look at Derrick Henry, who does not have the upside of catching the ball. Jacksonville, it's very reasonable that Derrick Henry has a 100-yard game, 1 touchdown. I can't pay close to $9,000 for that. So I may fade him, but he is a good play this week. But that's pretty much what I like on Tennessee. I like the pass catchers, and I like Tannehill to run that with a stack. Cool. All right, Houston and Cincinnati. Who you like?
Houston and Cincinnati. You mean Dallas and Cincinnati?
No, Houston and Chicago. My eyesight is killing me.
Oh, okay.
Chicago. I saw the C and I thought I saw an N, but it was an H. My bad. I flipped the H in the I. Houston and Chicago. Houston and Chicago
in this game. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm real big. I don't really like anybody for the Texans. I don't like the matchup. I not at all. Even Deshaun Watson. I think he's a good player against anybody, but I just don't like the matchup, especially playing in Chicago. But what I do love is I absolutely love David Montgomery, and I absolutely love Allen Robinson. And another person that I'm gonna mention is for the Chicago Bears. Give me just a second. I apologize.
The tight end?
No, he's actually a wide receiver. Darryl Mooney. I also like Mooney. I would take a flyer on as well as a value pick just to kind of keep an eye on in that lineup. I like him a lot.
Yeah. Houston, I like Deshaun Watson as a one-off because he can still give you the big points, and you just don't know who he's going to throw to. I liked Kiki Kuti last week because he's 3,500. I had him in several of my lineups, and that worked out just as great as Corey Davis did. But at 5,000, which is where he's priced now, I don't like him as much because there's other people in that price range that I feel have more, more security, and they're playing against a Chicago team that does have a pretty good defense. So I just like other options. I don't like the pass catchers to want to play. Houston, for Houston players, but I do like Deshaun Watson as a one-off because he can still throw for 300 yards and 2 or 3 touchdowns, maybe run one in, still have a good
Definitely.
So I definitely may look to have some shares of Deshaun Watson. But as far as Chicago goes, I like Mr. Trubisky. Mr. Trubisky actually played a good game last week. If you throw another touchdown in there, maybe a running touchdown, because he had opportunities to throw 3 touchdowns. They just happened to get the ball within the 5-yard line a couple of times, and they ran him in with Cordero Patterson and David Montgomery. So Mr. Trubisky definitely had a good game. He was 30 for 34. No, that's the score 26 for 34. It's not bad, and he's going against even worse defense this week. So I'm definitely okay with going right back to Trubisky. I'm definitely okay with going right back to Allen Robinson. He's the only pass catcher I like because that's the only one that Trubisky pays attention to. I'm just not going. It's other value plays that I'd rather play that have more upside than the Darnell Mooney or Anthony Miller. Trubisky he likes one person,
Well, Mooney had as many targets as Allen Robinson. That's why I mentioned him at the value and the price that he's at. He had as many targets almost as Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson had 7. He had 6.
Yeah, I still not going in because even when he was getting targets with Nick Foles and even before Trubisky is just never materialized. I'd rather go with somebody else. He could be a good GPP play, but I'm not rocking with him. One person I will look at though at the tight end is Cole Kmet. He actually played the regular tight end position last week. He ran more routes than Jimmy Graham. He was on the field more than Jimmy Graham, and he got 7 targets. And he's pretty cheap as a tight end. Cole Kmet is 2,900. So I don't mind taking a flyer at that position because of where it is. Cole Kmet actually had a pretty good game. He had a touchdown, 5 catches, 37 yards on 7 targets. So they may be looking to see what they have in him and, decided that the Jimmy Graham project is over. So definitely Cole Kmet is probably my top option at the tight end position this week because I like to play cheap tight ends and hope that they have good games. So I like Cole Kmet. Denver and Carolina. Oh man, this is gonna be an ugly game. I like the fact that Christian McCaffrey may be coming back, and people don't get cute. Like this happened once already with Christian McCaffrey came back and everybody was tripping about playing. I'm talking about it's gonna be a timeshare because Mike Davis was playing so good and they're gonna ease him in. And Christian McCaffrey came back and killed it and had touches out the ass. And if he comes back, that means he's ready to play. Like there's no reason for him to come back and ease himself into it. They're not going to the playoffs. So if he comes back to play, he's coming back to play. So be ready to roll Christian McCaffrey out there at 9,200 because he's definitely worth every penny. If you choose to do that, if you notice DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel are both on the COVID list. Not sure if they actually have COVID or if they just were exposed. It doesn't matter. If they have COVID, they won't be playing. If they were exposed and they can get their negative testing time, then they will be on the field. Pay attention to that because if both of them are out, Christian McCaffrey is going to be targeted out the ass. He's gonna for me, he's gonna be a must play. But outside of that, he's still almost a must play, and I think he's probably gonna be less on because that's what people do coming off an injury. They don't want to play you as much. So, but I do like Christian McCaffrey. I don't like Robbie Anderson as much because I don't know. Robbie Anderson could have a great game, but I just look at this Denver defense, and they've been playing pretty well lately, and they got good corners. They played Kansas City pretty good last week, like really good, and their defense has never really been their issue. This is their offense. So I don't know how I feel about Robbie Anderson. And even if DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel was there, Robert Anderson seems like an obvious pick. But a lot of times it's easier to defend those number one receivers when you don't have bona fide number twos and threes behind them, a la Houston Texans. Easier to defend Brandon Cooks when all you got is Kiki Kuti that you're throwing to, So I don't know how I feel about Robert Anderson. As far as Denver goes, I like some Melvin Gordon. Melvin Gordon been running the ball pretty good lately. And even though him and Lindsey are in the timeshare, he seems to be the one that's getting the better runs and the most volume. And he's doing, he's just doing better out of the two. So Melvin Gordon is 5,200. I don't see a problem playing him. Not my favorite play, but I do see this being a good matchup because Carolina's run defense has been better the last couple of weeks, but I can see him still maybe having a decent game. That's about it for me.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I'll make this short and sweet. I like Christian McCaffrey, and I don't like anybody else. I don't have my faith in Drew Lock right now is not very high. And what you said about that Carolina defense, they have played very well in the last couple of weeks, and especially, I was actually talking to somebody at work today because they were thinking about playing Melvin Gordon in their season-long fantasy, and I kind of told them don't get caught up in the hype. Because he did have a good game this last week. But if you look at him in daily fantasy week 4, he had 5 points. The Broncos are kind of one of those teams that go with the hot hand. If Phillip Lindsay's running the ball good, Melvin Gordon don't get as many touches.
That's not the best comparison, though, because it was against the Saints with no quarterback.
Well, I do completely understand that. But still in all, that goes back to what I said. I don't have any faith in Drew Lock. And you're playing against a better Carolina defense. And if he's not able to do anything, I don't think that running game is going to be very effective. I feel like they're going to have to throw the ball to beat Carolina. They're not going to run the ball down their throats. That's just how I feel. Because I think they're going to make Drew Lock throw the ball. That's what teams been doing lately. And don't get me wrong, looking at that last game, Melvin Gordon did have a really good game, but I don't want to get caught up in the hype. I don't want to overreact to one game,
Yeah. Well, he did have a 19-point game the week before that. So, he's been spotty. He had some terrible games and he's had some good games. So it's far from consistent, but that's why he's 5.2K and not like 6 or 7 or something. Right. So the potential is there for him to have a great game. And one thing about these timeshares I have noticed is that when you have a timeshare, you tend to have one running back do pretty decent compared to the other. Whereas when you have like a Derrick Henry who gets all the touches, if he has a bad game, he has a bad game. And I don't know if that's because the change of style and it's hard to get used to how this one runs, and then the next couple of plays is this one, or one series is this running back, and then the next one is this running back. That because when you look at teams like the Rams, they always have one running back that does decent for the amount of touches they get. So it's something about a timeshare where one running back tends to do not just better, but pretty good compared to the other. So I said I wouldn't be surprised if he has a good game. I don't know how much I would be playing of him, but he is cheap, and if he goes off, you will be lucky.
I'm gonna kind of give you my theory on that. What I think it is I think it's a matchup thing and a skill set thing. Some running backs, most running backs, when you're in a timeshare, they have usually 2 different skill sets. You usually don't have 2 running backs of the same caliber that do the exact same things. So one is usually more effective against a defense than the other because just matchups are usually better for them. You got a guy that runs inside the tackles versus a pass catching back that can run inside the tackles but also a passing threat versus somebody that's just basically a running threat. That gives some defenses problems versus vice versa when you just got somebody that can run the ball down your throat. So I think it just depends on the matchups.
Yeah. So on the Minnesota and Tampa Bay, I like this as just a regular game. I don't know how much I like anything on. I don't know how much I like on the running backs in this game though. I'm fading Dalvin Cook probably all the way through. I'm not playing Dalvin Cook. This is because he priced up. He's gonna get a heck of a lot of work because they've shown that that's what they're gonna do. They're gonna give him the ball. He had 120 yards rushing last game. He had 32 carries. And like I said, that also in the overtime. And they're going against the Tampa Bay defense. And you say what you want about Tampa's defense not playing well lately. This is Minnesota. And this is also their run game has for the most part been pretty still good. It's the passing game that's where they're faulted. So if anything, I like Justin Jefferson and Adam Thielen again this week. I think Kirk Cousins is going to have to throw the ball because I think Tampa Bay is going to put up points. I think Tom Brady is going to have a good game. I like Tom Brady this week. I'm still on Antonio Brown train because I feel like it's coming. He's going to have a bust out game at some point. And if that can now whether that continues, he has a good game, and then now he's just the go-to guy on Tampa Bay. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he's going to have a monster game before the season's over, and he will be in my lineup every week until he does. And because his price is so cheap, he's $5,500. I love him, and I still like Mike Evans because Mike Evans. So far, he has been the target monster for Tampa Bay the last maybe 4 to 5 weeks. He's been getting the most targets, and he's the one that's been getting in the end zone the most. And he's still priced at a decent price. He's not terribly expensive. So Mike Evans, Antonio Brown, Tom Brady, and Adam Thielen and Justin Jefferson for me. That's it.
Well, honestly, we don't even have to touch on that too much because I love the exact same people. So, I mean, we can roll on to the next game, man. I concur with everything you said on that one.
Cool. Arizona and New York Giants. What you got?
Oh man. I love me some Kyler Murray in this game. Yes, the Giants defense has played better, but I don't care. I love Kyler Murray in this game, and I do love DeAndre Hopkins. I know Bradbury is going to be guarding him this week, but I don't think it really matters. I don't think he's that good. I think he's really, really good, but not like shut down DeAndre Hopkins good. So, I love those two. I also love Kenny and Drake getting that running game going. And for me, as far as the New York Giants, I love me some Wayne Gallman, bro. Wayne Gallman has proven to me that he can be a starting NFL running back. And what he's shown to me, even if he ain't playing with the Giants, obviously he won't be next year, but I could see him going to another team and being capable of being a starting running back. So I love Wayne Gallman. Not real big on none of the receivers. So, I mean, that's pretty much all I got as far as this game goes. I think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring game, to be honest with you. But I think it's going to favor Arizona more.
Yeah. I'm not liking Kyler Murray. He got a shoulder issue, and since his shoulder been hurting, he's been playing bad. His running, they've been spying him the last couple of games. He hasn't been as effective on the ground. I don't like him at all. The Giants defense is for real. It's 100% bona fide. It took a while for them to come together as a team and get things going, but Giants are playing actual real football now. And, when you can put a Colt McCoy in and you can, have a defense that pretty much shuts down a Seattle team, that wasn't bad Seattle. That was good Giants. It wasn't like the Giants just was full of turnovers. I mean, DK Metcalf, he got targets. He got catches. He was still a beast. But he was shut down to as good as you could shut a player of his caliber down, which wasn't shut down. It's just that that's how you want to play him. Give him what you can, but definitely stay on him. And the Giants defense for real, I don't have any faith in Arizona. I mean, and Kyler Murray, as far as what he's worth and what his ceiling is, I don't have any faith in playing him this week. And with that being said, I don't have any faith in DeAndre Hopkins because Kyler Murray is their quarterback. And like I said, his shoulder is injured, and it's obvious. In my opinion, it's very obvious that it's affecting him. Running wise, I like a little Kendrick Drake because he still is cheap. And even though he didn't have a great game, he got in the end zone because they're giving him the ball, they're feeding him. He's still getting about 3 to 5 targets out of the backfield. And even though the Giants defense is really good, I can see somebody like Kendrick Drake having the possibility of a 60-yard, maybe 2 touchdown game because they run the ball in. But he's not a great play. He's just a value play at the running back position.
I agree.
Other than that, on the Giants end, they're playing good football, but I like their defense because I can see their defense doing well like they did against Seattle. hold them to low point total, getting some sacks, something like that. And they're cheap. But as far as plays go, as long as Colt McCoy is back there, I can't play anybody from the Giants except for Wayne Gallman. I do like Wayne Gallman. Excuse me. Wayne Gallman is still cheap, and he's playing really good at the running back position. So, yeah, I like Wayne Gallman too. Kansas City and Miami. Who do you like?
Man. Bro, I you know me, I'll probably stay away from this game. And it's no, and not because I don't think it's gonna be a great game and they're gonna put up points. It's just I don't know who, and I don't know how it's gonna go. You know, that Dolphins to me team is very unpredictable. If anything, I would probably play the Chiefs defense because Tua just ain't really showed me a lot yet. But I don't really have a lot of faith. Maybe Tyreek Hill. I like Tyreek Hill. I do like that matchup, definitely. But I don't like anybody for the Dolphins. Maybe Myles Gaskin, depending on the price and things like that. You know, Myles Gaskin could be a good play. Tyreek Hill, maybe even Kelsey. But I'm just not real high on this game in general.
So I'm high on this game as far as like players, but more like one-offs instead of stacks. So Myles Gaskin is a good play because he's going to get a lot of usage and he's cheap. But I don't know. I don't know how much of him I'm going to play. You know, he got 21 carries, which is a lot last game, and that was against Cincinnati. He probably won't carry the ball that much this time because they're going to be down. They're going to have to throw. So he may have more usage in the passing game. He had 2 targets this last game, but before he got hurt, he had 6 targets and 4 and 5 and 4 and 5 and 7 and 4. So he clearly is using the passing game. So Myles Gaskin is a good play, but I don't like anybody else. Maybe Gesicki. I'd rather play down, so I probably won't play Gesicki, but Gesicki is a good play because he had a great game last time. You was on the money with him. He had 11 targets, 9 catches, 88 yards, and 1 touchdown. Tua actually had a good game. I can see Tua having a good game simply because he's going to have to pass. Tua had a good game this past game compared to what he's been having. It wasn't great. It wasn't great fantasy, but his numbers were not terrible. He had 16 points, but he had 296 yards passing and 1 touchdown. So, you know, I mean, that's not a bad day. The Chiefs, he's going to have to pass, but I don't like Tua as much. What I do like, I love Patrick Mahomes. I love Tyreek Hill. See, like people are gonna look at the box score and they're gonna say, "Oh, okay. See, I don't want to play Tyreek Hill because you never know where the ball gonna go." Kind of like what you said. And if you watch that game, Tyreek Hill should have had another 25 to 30 point game. He scored a touchdown. He caught the ball. I don't know if you watched the game,
No,
but it was
I did.
a play. You did, so that was an actual touchdown. And then before that, he was wide open. And he was the ball was kind of like
he kind of missed it. It's like he kind of it was weird. I watched
exactly. So if you look at that one game, you may say, well, you know, that's why I don't want to play Tyreek Hill. It costs a lot. You know, last time was a Travis Kelce game. This time might be a Tyreek Hill game. No, it was a Tyreek Hill game and a Travis Kelce game. It's just Tyreek Hill had a couple of mishaps. But if you look back at his games before that, 60, 30, 36, 25, and 17 and then 5. And then it goes back to 18, 16, 21, 28, 15. So I'm all over Tyreek Hill. I love Tyreek Hill. If you look at the targets, 10, 15, 14, 18, 10. That's the last 5 games. No, and then 1 was 6. And that was that Jets game. Well, he had two touchdowns, so he still killed it. He only had 6 targets. So I'm all over Tyreek Hill. I love if you got the money, I love Travis Kelce as well because Travis Kelce is not a tight end. Travis Kelce is a wide receiver, and you can play him in a tight end spot. So if you got the money, Travis Kelce is how much is Travis Kelce? Give me a second. He's priced up. He's 7,400. The Travis Kelce, 20 points, 16 points, 29 points, 28 points, 27 points, 6 and 22, 27. And I'll say that 6 points was that Denver game where their defense scored 2 or 3 times and they didn't need to do anything. So Travis Kelce is almost a lock to get 20 or more points at the tight end position if Travis Kelce was actually listed as a wide receiver with those points, he would be 8,000 plus. He would be up there with Devontae Adams, close to $9,000. It's because he plays the tight end that his price hasn't jumped up. So, and Mahomes, enough said. You don't even need to speak on Mahomes. So he's obvious. The only one that I may look to play, may not play is Mahomes, because you can always get good value with quarterbacks who have great games.
I agree.
But Tyreek and Travis Kelce, I love both of them for real. Dallas and Cincinnati. Now it's Cincinnati. I like it. I like Zeke in his game because he's cheap. He's 6,600, and I watched him run against Baltimore. Zeke actually ran about pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
He had 77 yards or close to that. He had 77 yards against Cincinnati. 2 games ago, he had 103 against Minnesota. They're still feeding the ball. He had 2 opportunities on 2 different drives to score a touchdown at within the 5-yard line. I think they both are at the 1-yard line. And then the Ravens defense just held up. You give them those 2 touchdowns, we're talking about a totally different day, probably another $1,000 priced up. So I like Zeke against a Cincinnati defense that's not great. I actually like Andy Dalton because I like revenge games. I like Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton don't cost that much. To be honest with you, I like the Cowboys this week. I like CeeDee Lamb. Andy Dalton was peppering CeeDee Lamb with targets against the Ravens.
Oh, I know.
And I like CeeDee Lamb because he's still cheap. CeeDee Lamb is $4,800. CeeDee Lamb is $4,800.
Wow.
I'm gonna say it one more time. CeeDee Lamb is $4,800. CeeDee Lamb had 10 points on 9 targets and 6 catches. He should have had over 100 yards, the touchdown, and 7 catches because he should have caught that Hail Mary.
Yeah,
that was his to catch. That was his for the taking. So when you think about the Ravens defense, and then you go to a Cincinnati Bengals defense, Andy Dalton's gonna be motivated to beat the shit out of his old team that let him go, and he got these targets to throw to. Andy Dalton may break the slate. I mean, just for real, Andy Dalton may break the slate.
Talking about playing against Cincinnati, you could absolutely be right. And another thing about CeeDee Lamb, he got held on a play too that wasn't called.
Oh yeah, you're right.
If he don't get held, first of all, it should have been a first down, and they the field goal. Even though he did get held, and they didn't call it. But if he burnt that dude. That was a target. That was a touchdown. That was a 60-yard, 40 to 60-yard touchdown. I don't remember exactly where it was at, but that was at least a 40-yard touchdown.
Yep.
So yeah, man, I'm loving CeeDee Lamb this week, man. I'm loving the Cowboys altogether. I love Amari Cooper too.
Yep.
Bro, Gallup, I think you can take your pick. I think Andy Dalton impressed me this past week. I watched that game from start to finish with the Cowboys, and he moved the ball around. They look really
Dalton
good.
He did. Like, he convinced me. He had 285 yards passing. Could have easily got to 300. A couple of things go the way it's supposed to. CeeDee Lamb makes that catch. It's not a pass interference. Like certain things happen. Andy Dalton easily got over 300 yards and 2 more touchdowns.
They changed the style of play for him.
Yeah. So if you're not watching the game and you look at these box scores, you're not getting the full picture. Right. Like, Andy Dalton looked pretty good. The Dallas Cowboys defense looked like trash.
like always.
But Andy Dalton looked pretty good. So I like Zeke. I cannot pass up a CeeDee Lamb at 4,800. I just cannot do it. It's let me stop talking because y'all gonna play him. I should have told y'all that. I should have just kept that one to myself. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. But yeah, I don't like nothing on Cincinnati. Since Bill Burrow left, I'm not playing any Cincinnati. I probably won't have another Cincinnati player in my lineup for the rest of the year.
I can almost concur on that. The only person I do like is Giovanni Bernard. I love Giovanni Bernard against the Cowboys defense. They have a horrible rushing defense. If there's anybody I can see having a good game fantasy-wise, and I don't think he's very expensive at all, for the price and what you can get him and the usage and the production you can get out of him against a Dallas Cowboys defense, I definitely think that he could be a good play this week. And don't get me wrong, he's a flyer. He's a GPP player. It's not somebody I'm telling you sticking your lineup. But you're talking about the 27th ranked defense, and he's $5,700 on FanDuel. $5,700.
He's 5,000 on DraftKings. He's very cheap. He does have a great matchup. Could end up being a good play. Again, it's definitely a GPP play, not a cash game. Could turn out to be a great investment. New York Jets versus Seattle. I love the Jets this week. What his name? Devon Mims. He's gonna kill it. I'm lying. I don't like nothing about the Jets at all.
Look, I was gonna roll. I wasn't gonna say nothing. I was just gonna give you my picks.
There's one person I may play as a tournament play, Ty Johnson. If Frank Gore's not playing, RJP Ryan is out. He had 22 carries for 104 yards. I think, is this the first time a Jets running back went over 100 yards? I do realize it was the Vegas Raiders, and I do realize Seattle's been playing a lot better on defense. But a $4,700 running back who just ran for 100 yards and a touchdown is still a good value play. So there may be a lineup that I throw him in just to see what happens. But Jets-wise, nothing. Metcalf must play. That's it. Russell Wilson this is a good game for Russell Wilson, but I'm not playing him. Right. I'm not going to play Russell Wilson this week.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
And the reason why is because I like Chris Carson too much.
Right.
I feel like Chris Carson could have 2 touchdowns on the ground this week.
I agree with you. I mean, I love everybody you love, but I absolutely love Ty Johnson because it goes back to kind of what you said about the Giants defense. Like you said, he rushed for over 100 yards. The Seattle Seahawks only scored 12 points. They still weren't able to stop him.
Yeah.
No, I'm sorry. The Jets was only able. What did the Jets score? I'm sorry. The Jets did score 28 points. Actually, you said they were playing the Raiders. But I think
played Seattle and they weren't able to stop Gallman.
Right.
Yeah.
And my thing is, I feel like playing him and the way he played, the way he looked. Sometimes because I'm watching all these games, and sometimes you just look at a running back and you're like, man, he looked good. Like, why haven't y'all seen this before? You kind of get that feeling like, where has he been? That's what I kind of thought about him. I'm like, who is this dude? Well, he killing it. I'm sitting there mad, bro. Let me touch on this real quick. I had Frank Gore in 2 of my lineups, double ups. I cashed in one of them, thank God, because I had all them people you named that killed it. Corey Davis and the Corey Davises. I had those people, but I got 0.2 points from Frank Gore.
You had a concussion.
You could not imagine how much money I lost because I was very. No, you can. But I'm telling you how well of lineups I put together, and having 0.2 points from one of your players just crush it. Like, I'll put it to you this way: in one of those lineups, I played I think $12, and I end up winning like $55 with him having 0.2 points. Because a couple of them were double. No, they were triple ups. I played a $5 triple up and I played a $2 triple up. And I put those together with tournament games, GPPs. I put a $9 or $7, whatever it was. Bruh, I was so hurt every time I seen Ty Johnson run the ball because he was killing it. Looked like he was getting 4 or 5 yards a carry, he was getting 4 or 5 yards a carry based off his stats. So, bro, I was sick. I was like, man, that's supposed to be Frank Gore. That's supposed to be Frank Gore.
You know what? It's funny is that I'm not convinced that Frank Gore would have had the same performance, just to be completely honest. Like, Frank Gore is not that kind of running back anymore. He's a bruiser. He runs into people. It's a reason why he hadn't hit 100 yards. They've played terrible defenses already. I mean, it's easy to look at that and be like, this should have been Frank Gore. But I'm not convinced Frank Gore would have had 100-something rushing yards. Maybe the touchdown. But the rushing yards, this guy, Ty Johnson, he's spry, man. He quick on his feet. He was cut. I mean, he was looking pretty good. You know, I'm talking myself into giving him a shot, you know, because he's so cheap.
Well,
If you want people like if you want to fit, I imagine trying to fit in a lineup with McCaffrey, Tyreek Hill, and Metcalf. Well, hey, Ty Johnson, you gonna need some kind of value like that to fit people like that in one lineup, you know. So it's a very realistic scenario to where I may play him just to try to fit in a killer lineup with some, you know, some of the upper players, you know, higher players, higher price players. So
yeah, I feel you. I wish Frank Gore would have been playing. No, I was sick.
That's also contingent upon Frank Gore not playing as well, because he still has a concussion. If it says he clears concussion protocol, I'm not playing Johnson.
Yeah, at his age though, I don't think Frank Gore is gonna play.
I mean, he may not.
There's no reason to rush him back.
He may not. The thing is the problem with that is Ty Johnson is 4,700 and they play in the late slate of games. So the smart thing to do would be to play a running back who you think could have a decent game that's around that price. And then if that person doesn't play, then if Ty Johnson plays and Frank Gore doesn't, you keep Ty Johnson. But if you see Frank Gore play, you switch him out. And so what I just saying that, I'm looking at one person who I think fits that, and that's J.D. McKissic, because Antonio Gibson is out with a foot injury. And even if Antonio Gibson plays, J.D. McKissic is always a candidate to have a decent game because of the game script. He could get a lot of catches out the backfield. McKissic is 4,900. So that means I would need to leave a couple $100 on the table to be able to fit McKissic in just in case Frank Gore plays. That's a great thing about late swap.
Right.
Pay attention to stuff like that. But yeah, Ty Johnson definitely is somebody who I can look at to play, depending on what you want to put in your lineup. So, hey, Ty Johnson, you know. But again, Seattle, Carson, you can play Lockett. I'm not as big on Lockett as I am on Metcalf, but Lockett could be a great pivot because this is a Jets defense.
Right.
So while everybody's hot on Metcalf, this could be one of those games where Lockett have 15 targets, 12 catches, 150 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Would be surprised. And Chris Carson. Love Chris Carson. Indianapolis and Las Vegas Raiders. I got a bone to pick with Phillip Rivers. So I drafted T.Y. Hilton in both of my leagues this year. And I kept him on my squad all year, on my bench. I started him maybe the first 3 weeks, maybe the first 4 weeks. Finally put him on my bench, left him on my bench. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to – maybe this happens later. And then I got to a point where I said, you know what? It's just not working. I want something off the waiver wire. I traded him. Not traded him, but I dropped him. I dropped him last week.
Wow.
T.Y. Hilton waits. Carson, I say T.Y. Hilton. I don't know who to blame more, Phillip Rivers or T.Y. Hilton. They waited until the week I dropped him. If he would have been on my bench, I would have been like, damn, okay, maybe he finally getting it. And then I just would have maybe played him the next week. They waited until I dropped him from both leagues for him to kill it. Not with a long touchdown on 3 targets. He had a real game. He had like I think it was like 11 targets or something like that. I mean, he freaking killed it. And I'm watching every catch come up on what it is, the game cast. I'm watching every catch pop up. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? Why hasn't this been here all year? He had 11 targets, 8 catches, and 110 yards. The week before, he had 4 catches on 5 targets, and 81 yards and a touchdown. When I saw that, I was like, nah, he ain't gonna do that again. That was luck. That was against Tennessee and catch up. This was against Houston in a game that was close all the way through. I was so pissed off. Anyways, with that being said, fuck T.Y. Hilton. I ain't playing his ass for fantasy. I don't care if he is cheap.
Yes, you will.
No, I'm not. I'm not playing him. And it's really not because I'm biased. It's just because, again, at 5,100, I'm probably going to play maybe one player around that price range. And I already told you who I like. CeeDee Lamb. If I go up a little higher than that, which we hadn't talked about this player yet, but Brandon Ayuk, he's like 5,400. I'd rather pay up $400 more to somebody like Brandon Ayuk, because Brandon Ayuk has been killing it.
Yes, he has.
But we get to that in a second. This game, I don't like anybody. So next,
the only person I like Jonathan Taylor in this game. I do like Jonathan.
You be sticking with Jonathan Taylor. I don't know if you noticed this. I think every week since we started this podcast, you have talked about how you like Jonathan Taylor. And out of 13 weeks, he's had 2 games where that actually paid off. What is it that you like about Jonathan Taylor so much?
I mean, you say out of 13 weeks, he's only had 2 games.
No, he's only had 2 games where it really paid off. He had 22 points this past week, which was great. Then he had 22 points in week 2. But after that, he's never had more than 15 points.
But he's cheap.
Yes, he's cheap. But first of all, he wasn't always cheap when he was getting those. Well, he went back down because he was terrible. So, like, I don't know if FanDuel is, but I give you the dollars.
I'm gonna give you I'm gonna give you the stats on Jonathan Taylor this year in FanDuel. 11.9, 18, 12.7, 8.4, 14.4, 13.5, 4.1, 8.4, 4.7. He had a little bad streak there. 13.4 and 21.
And you say you love him every week.
I mean, I promise you I didn't tell you I loved him against Baltimore. I promise that.
Maybe not every week, but most weeks.
Because he be having great matchups. Yeah, and when he has a great matchup, he tends to do well.
What is well?
13 to 15 points, or over 10 points for his price.
I never play somebody with the hope that they give me 13 points. That's my point. Like, if I'm looking at this,
I expected more, but he's still not giving you a dud.
I feel you. If I play somebody, this is the reason why I don't like players like I don't like to play players like Montgomery, David Johnson, Duke Johnson. Like, they have these killer matchups on paper and they cheat. And then you're like, oh, they can't help but do well. You're thinking you got to at least give me 17 to 20 points for your price. That's great. And then they give you 12 or 13. I feel like Jonathan Taylor's in that category. Now, we'll say David Montgomery, since he came back from his concussion, these last 2 games, he didn't play hella great. I mean, he even looked better. Maybe it's Trubisky. Because I did notice that his first 2 games with Trubisky, he played good. It was when Nick Foles came, that's when he started playing bad. So maybe that actually has something to do with David Montgomery. But David Johnson, he came back, shit. Duke Johnson, he had 1 good game. Marvin Jones Jr., let's not even get on him. But anyways, I mean, Jonathan Taylor he's primed to have that game. This is a great matchup. So you're right. This is a good matchup for Jonathan Taylor. Nyheim Hines actually been playing good too. This is a good matchup for him because you know what he can do catching the ball out the air. But I just don't have faith in any Colts. And I definitely don't have no faith in Vegas. Oh, I gotta eat my words. Last week I said Darren Waller was hyped up. He was overhyped. I don't understand why people, why he caught so much and why people going crazy over him. He must have heard this podcast.
That's what I was going to say. He must have literally heard you. Really?
I know it was against the Jets. I don't expect that kind of performance against the Colts. But, yeah, Darren Waller, you did that, man. You did that. I will never fade you completely again in life. I hardly ever play Darren Waller, but I will look to have shares of him every week from now on. I
agree. I concur with that, definitely.
I have no problem I'm very humble. If I make a mistake, I'll admit it. Anyways, you like any Colts? Oh, you did say you like Jonathan Taylor. Anybody else you like?
No, not at all. Not one bit.
Green Bay and Detroit. I mean, it's easy. Devontae, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams. He's 9,300 and he worth every penny. If you pay up for him, you're getting 30. I mean, you're getting close to it, if not quite 30. This guy is just a beast. And Aaron Rodgers is doing everything he can to throw it to him. Deep, short, mid-range, it don't matter. He's getting catches of all kinds. He's the best receiver in the game, in my opinion, right now. When it comes to what he's doing on the field, I don't even think it's close. right now with what he's doing on the field week in and week out. Everybody's had a bad week at the receiver position. And Devontae Adams' bad week was when he got hurt.
Right.
And he didn't come back for 3 games. Since he came back, his first game was when Rodgers played terrible. But if you want to count that against him, great, 12 points. Since that 12-point game in week 6, he's had, listen to this, 47, 30, 36, 19, 26, 18, 37. That's just ridiculous. Ridiculous.
Wow.
So,
them points are boosted in DraftKings, huh?
well, it's a full point PPR. Then if you go
Right.
over 100, you get a bonus. 100 yards, I think, is like 2 or 3 points for receivers. 50-yard touchdown is a bonus.
Right.
So, yeah, they do have some extra stuff that make it cost, that make the points a lot higher, which is why I'm kind of glad I switched. While I was playing FanDuel, I was happy, but once I got over here and really got back into DraftKings, I realized why I was playing DraftKings at first, in the first place when I first started, because I'm doing a lot better, FanDuel, I hope you listen to this, you bastards. Okay.
Yeah, I'm still with them, so
I feel you. Detroit. I ain't got nothing. I mean, I was waiting on you to jump in if you had something with Detroit.
Oh, that's what you was looking for.
Yeah.
TJ Hawkinson. I love TJ Hawkinson right now. For the Packers, I don't need to name the Packers. Everybody know what Packers to play. If you want a value pick, maybe Alan Lazard. Robert Tonyan has actually been playing pretty well lately.
Mm-hmm.
Actually been getting quite a few targets and has gotten the end zone the last few games. But for the Lions, I mean, TJ Hawkinson, I love him all day against that Packers secondary. But other than that, I don't like nobody for the Lions and the Packers. I mean, just take your pick. Even Aaron Jones. I mean, just take your pick on who you want to play as far as the Packers against the Lions.
Yeah. Okay, moving on. Washington football team against those 49ers. Man, they let me down a couple of days ago.
Me too.
I was just like, I watched how they played the Rams, and I was like, everybody think the Bills about to have a good game. 49ers is actually getting quietly healthy. Richard Sherman back. He clearly made an impact on the defenses against the Rams. I'm like, 49ers is about to play good against the Bills. Well, I was completely wrong on that one.
Well, as much as I was rooting for it too, and I wanted it to happen, one thing I'll tell you, when it comes to my Niners, is one thing we do struggle against. We struggle against running quarterbacks. That is our Achilles heel. You got to think about playing against the Rams, playing Jared Goff. He is standing in the pocket, and that's usually lunch for the 49ers. Yeah. You got a quarterback that's not mobile and really, I mean, even though Jared Goff can move a little bit for the most part, he's a pocket passer. So when you give the 49ers that type of matchup, we usually gonna eat with Robert Saleh. I mean, he usually come with a good game plan. We struggle against Kyler Murray. I mean, we just struggle against running quarterbacks. It's something we haven't figured out yet as a defense. And when you're missing two of your best defensive players, I mean, it makes it all the worse. I mean, with that being said, I'll be honest with you in this game. I'm big on several people. First of all, J.D. McKissick. I love him if Antonio Gibson don't play.
He's doubtful, so
he won't be there. And the thing is, the 49ers got a pretty good rush defense, but J.D. McKissick is going to catch a lot of balls off the backfield. And even as much as I love Fred Warner, I mean, I just see the way they use him. He's like running wide receiver routes. And he runs them like a wide receiver.
McKissick had 10 catches on 10 targets after Gibson left the game. McKissick going to have a hell of a game.
That's what I mean. So I love J.D. McKissick. I'll be honest with you, I even love McLaurin. But for my 49ers, I'm gonna tell you, I love the skill positions. I don't know how I feel about Nick Mullins, but I love Deebo Samuel. I love Brandon Ayuk, and I love Raheem Mostert this week.
So the only reason why I don't like Mostert is because I don't like having to guess which running back is going to end up getting the hot hand and getting the touches and getting the goal line carries. I hate that. And it seemed like Mostert took the position and this was his and he was the number one back. and then he goes on IR, and Jeff Wilson goes on IR, and then they come back, and now they're doing a timeshare again. And I'm not spending my money on guessing which running back is going to be the one. If I have to go with anybody, I'm going to go with Jeff Wilson simply because Jeff Wilson is cheap as hell. He's $4,000, and if he's going to get the same exact volume as Mostert, well, give me the savings. So if I play anybody, it's going to be Jeff Wilson simply because of that. But I'm probably not going to play either one because Jeff Wilson has 7 carries, Mostert had 9. Jeff Wilson had 41 touches, 41 yards rushing. Mostert had 42 yards rushing, and Jeff Wilson had more opportunities to score. He was the one that was getting the goal line looks in that game. So I'm not gonna mess with it. Mostert is a beast. If Mostert was like starting like this, I would be all over him at 6,200. But I can't pay that for somebody who's gonna be sharing half his carries.
I wanna point out, and it's just this is my personal. As far as being a football, this is complete non-bias. As far as this is just my analyst part of me coming out. I feel like they were easing Mostert back in.
It may be.
And this is a desperation game. Oh, I agree. And I agree with you 100%. But I'm just saying don't not have a share of them at all.
Oh,
have a couple
I'm not. Well, I mean, I see what you're saying.
I feel like they were easing him back in, and this is a desperation game. This is win or go home for us to stay in the playoff hunt. And I feel like this is the game they're going to let him loose.
So I hear you, but I'm not having any shares of Mostert because it's not only that he's in a potential timeshare, which I'm going to go off the most recent evidence. It's also that Washington is actually a really good defense. That plays a part in it as well. So if it was just the matchup, then I would definitely have a few shares of him because he's shown that he can still, have a big game against a good running defense. But if I'm thinking of him contending with another running back for touches and you're going up against the number 3 ranked rushing defense, I'm not having any shares of you. That's a GPP play, and if it turns out to be a good play, that's going to be good for those people. But this is one person where I can definitely say I'm not going to have any shares of until that picture is a little bit more clear. But I do agree with you when you talk about the other skill positions. Brandon Ayuk and Debo, I love both of them. But I'm probably going to be more overweight on Brandon Ayuk because he's $1,000 cheaper. And he's actually, Debo's been hurt. So I can't say he's outplaying Debo because Debo's been hurt. He's missed a lot of games. But when the games that Debo missed, Brandon Ayuk killed it. And then when Debo came back, Brandon Ayuk still killed it. Mm-hmm. So I don't fear him missing opportunities because Debo is back. So I like I like Brandon Ayuk at 5,400 on DraftKings. New Orleans and Philadelphia. So they say that Drew Brees is probably going to be back this week. And does that mean that I want to play Drew Brees? Hell no. That's my favorite quarterback of all time because he's on my favorite team ever. But he is not a fantasy quarterback at this point. But the reason why there's good news is because Alvin Kamara is only $7,000. His price has dropped drastically with Taysom Hill in there. And if Drew Brees is starting, Alvin Kamara is a lock for me in almost every lineup at $7,000. Mm-hmm. I mean, because it's clear the change in quarterback is the reason why Alvin Kamara doesn't have the same opportunities. When Drew Brees come back, the short game is his game. And the man he likes to pass to is Kamara. So I'm going to be looking for that. Be looking for that as well. Michael Thomas is also $7,000. He's definitely worth a play. I can see myself stacking Kamara and Michael Thomas with another quarterback because I just can't do it with Brees. But as far as the Eagles go, Jalen Hurts is starting. I ain't gonna lie, I'm excited to see this kid play, but not this week. Because and it's not that I'm not excited to see him play this week. It's just I feel like this was the worst week for him to actually start.
How bad does that suck?
Exactly. Like you playing against one of the best defenses in the league.
The best defense in the league.
I'm trying to be modest. I'm trying to be modest.
It ain't no need to be. You're playing the number one defense in the league.
I'm like, that's like the worst game to start against, But who knows? Maybe you have a Tua moment. Maybe they defense coming together and they kill us on offense. Kill us like the Rams did. I mean, the Dolphins did against the Rams, because everybody thought this was the worst defense for Tua to start. And guess what happened? The Rams fell apart. I doubt it, but who knows? But I actually am excited to see what Jalen Hurts can do, because I liked him in college. I liked him when he got to Oklahoma. I liked him a little bit at Alabama, and I kind of want to take Carson Wentz's spot. But anyway, I don't have anything with Philly. I don't like anybody with Philly. They a team in shambles, and yeah.
Neither do I. The only person I love the two people. I love Kamara. I love Michael Thomas in this game. The only thing I'm gonna add, I love the Saints defense.
Yes, I agree with you on that one.
I love the Saints defense this week. I think they're gonna be priced up too. I'm pretty sure they are. Let's see here.
They're probably the number one defense. They are the price defense, 3,800.
Right, and they actually $100 in FanDuel behind the Seattle Seahawks. Playing the Jets. So with that being said, difference. Basically, so that $100. Hey,
I tell you this. I tell you this. I forgot what I was about to say.
Oh, okay.
I completely forgot what I was about to say.
It's gonna literally come back to you in the middle of us talking. That's usually how it happens. I'm sure. Well, on to the next one.
This might be the best game fantasy wise on the slate.
This is my favorite game of the slate.
Yeah,
no doubt. I was talking about this earlier at work. There is no question in my mind, because I actually had. Now, this is somebody that lets me know you are not as seasoned as I am. He came to me and he said, "What do you think?" He said, "I'm a playoff start this week. Tom Brady or Justin Herbert?" I said, "Is that a question?" I said, "What do you mean?" I said, "What are the matchups?" He said, "Justin Herbert playing the Falcons." I say, "There's no other need. I don't even need to know Tom Brady matchup. Justin Herbert. Play Justin Herbert."
Again, people are looking at box scores. They're looking at the last two games. You played against a mastermind on defense, and Bill Belichick. I don't care if you've been having a great rookie season. You're still a rookie, and you're going against the GOAT when it comes to schemes. He beat the Chargers through schemes, not because the Patriots all of a sudden have a great defense. That's because you're a young quarterback who don't know how to play the game yet. You just ultra talented and you've been playing well. But in a couple of years, he can probably play Bill Belichick and do just fine because he's seasoned. That's all that was. Then the week before against the who was it they played against? I can't remember. Who did the Chargers play a couple weeks ago? He didn't have the best game.
They actually played
Was it the Bills?
Bills. Yes.
Yeah, it was the Bills. He didn't have the best game, but he still threw for 300-something yards. He still had 20 fantasy points. And that's all you can look at. Like, those are the only two games where he really struggled. So the only one where he really truly struggled fantasy-wise was last week. So, yeah, Justin Herbert Justin Herbert is going to be chalky as hell, and he's definitely going to deserve it. But go ahead, finish your analysis, bro.
Oh, man, this game, I'm loving me some Keenan Allen. I'm loving Justin Herbert, man, and I love Hunter Henry. Not as big on Mike Williams this week, but I love Hunter Henry. I love Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen, to me, is a must-play. I think this is a 15-target game. The other side of the ball, I love Julio Jones, and I love Matt Ryan. I feel like they are gonna smash it too to go along with Calvin Ridley. I just love this game as a whole. This will be a game where at least one lineup I play nothing but Falcons and Chargers and sprinkle a couple of cheap players to be able to fit Keenan Allen and Julio Jones in my lineup to go with Austin Eckler.
Yeah, this is a great game to stack. They have a lot of pieces where this is where the usage is going. You don't have to guess. You could stack this game with. I would prefer a stack where you could fit in Herbert as a quarterback. If not Herbert, then I would stack just the skill positions and then play another quarterback and stack him with another wide receiver if there was a cheaper option. But I like Keenan and Austin Eckler stacked with Julio and Ridley. And if you can fit Herbert in there, I like that. I just don't like Ryan. I don't like Ryan. I just don't. And maybe and I mean the matchup is good, but it's still not great because the Chargers ain't been terrible on defense. They just ain't been great like they were. So I could see Julio Jones and really I can see 2 touchdowns. I can see Matt Ryan throwing 2 touchdowns, or I can see Julio having 10 catches or 8 catches or 9 catches for 150 yards and no touchdown. I can see really having 7 or 8 catches again, like the same thing. I can see them having big games without a touchdown because Ryan is throwing the ball down the field. He's been having issues throwing the ball in the end zone. They've been getting a lot of field goals. So I don't know how I feel about Matt Ryan, but I do like Justin Herbert. I do like Austin Eckler. And Keenan Allen is dropped in price because he's had 2 bad games, but the targets have been there. Targets have not gone anywhere. He's just played against 2 good defenses that schemed against him. Atlanta don't have that. They don't have no good scheme and they don't have no good defense. So even if he don't get 15 targets, which he probably won't get 15 simply because Austin Eckler has tremendously eaten into the targets. Eckler had 11 targets last game, I think. So Keenan Allen may not get that many targets simply because he only has so many times he can throw the ball, Herbert. But right. He's going to get 10 to 15. Allen's definitely going to get 10 to 15. But yeah, this is a great game to stack. This is going to be a great fantasy game. My favorite game on the slate. We got anything else, man? That's the last game of this segment. I'm all pooped out, man. I don't got nothing else to say.
Yeah, man. To be honest with you, I was sitting here thinking, trying to figure out who I would actually give my L to this week. But for once, I'm gonna actually switch it up. I'm gonna give a W this week. Somebody that I think deserves it. Blown him all the time, well deserved. But I just got to give him some props, man. He had a heck of a game. Hell of a game. I'm going to actually say hell of a game. Man, big ups to Baker Mayfield this past week. Bruh, I was very, very, very impressed just by the way he looked. And to be honest with you, if you watched Baker Mayfield with no Odell Beckham, I don't know what it is, man, but he seems to look like a better quarterback.
Yeah. I watched him. He looked like a great quarterback this last game, but prior to that, he just managing the game. He didn't look great.
But he looked okay. No, he's not looking great. He just looked better. He looked
like a quarterback with no pressure. He ain't making mistakes.
Yeah, but he moving the ball around. He just looks better. It's like he's not forcing it. I ain't saying fantasy-wise he's killing it. No, not fantasy-wise he's not killing it.
No, I'm just saying you're talking about as a regular quarterback.
Yeah, he's playing really well.
Yeah, that's cool. You give him a W. I got an L to give out. It's for that quarterback they call walk it to him. Mr. Carson Wentz. I've heard Max Kellerman talk about this for the last year, and I agreed with him. I wasn't as adamant and strong-willed as he was with expressing how he felt Carson Wentz was not a good quarterback or not playing well. I did take into account that there were a lot of things against Carson Wentz, the injuries, the not having weapons, but I've always been able to see that he's still making bad decisions. You can have all the things against you and still make good decisions. And you may not win the game, but people know you didn't lose it either. And since last year, he's been making bad decisions. But because he made the playoffs in that weak division, people were giving him the benefit of the doubt. And because he had such a great MVP caliber season before he started having injuries, people was giving the benefit of the doubt. But he has been playing terrible, absolutely terrible. And if you want to add in the injuries and add in the coaching and add in the management, that's also a part of why everything is falling apart in Philadelphia. Go ahead. But you can't absolve a person from their responsibility. And his responsibility is to lead that team on the field. And he has not done that. And I think it's well-deserved that he's on the bench. I actually think that it sets a precedent, because when have you seen a quarterback with a trunk contract that big, no matter how bad they've played, how many mistakes they've made, actually get sat down, you know? And I think that is deserved. I'm excited for Jalen Hurts to get an opportunity. I hate that it's against this team, the Saints, because number one is my team, and it's also a hell of a defense to have to play your first NFL start. But I hope he does well in the long run. I hope he does enough for them to not draft another quarterback in this year's draft, so he can have an opportunity to start next year. And I hope Carson Wentz gets another opportunity somewhere else. Maybe he goes somewhere where he can humble himself and actually start reflecting on his practice and be a better quarterback. But Carson Wentz, hold this L. You deserved the L a long time ago, but you've been walking around like you are the ish, and you've been playing like shit. So Baker Mayfield take the W, Carson Wentz hold the L.
Yeah, and I'm definitely gonna concur with you for the first time ever when it comes to Carson Wentz. You know how I feel about him. I still feel the same way about him, but there's nothing I can do to make an argument. I made it up through last week, but yeah, I'm with you 100%. Yeah, he definitely he deserved the L a couple of weeks before this one.
Yeah, that's our show. Another long one, man. We gotta start timing ourselves, because I think we just be talking and having a good time. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is just we enjoy talking about sports. But anyways, that's our show. This is Hold the Cell. I'm Cappel.
And I'm Lonnie.
And we out.
Peace.